Welcome and thank you for coming to the council. I'm sorry for the business meeting this month. Please stand and join me for the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mr. Dockett, can you please call roll?
You have to unmute.
I did.
You're good, Kate.
Kate, can you speak?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. President Curry,
Here.
Vice President Pointer,
Here.
Ms. Martzoff,
She's here.
She's on. Hold on. Can we keep going while I find Ms. Morrison?
Go ahead, keep going.
oh, okay, she's present, Ms. Martzoff? Okay.
Here.
Ms. Connors,
Present.
Ms. Young,
She is going to be a little late. She's making some copies at the Borough Hall.
Mr. Griffin,
Here.
Mr. Hover,
Present.
Mayor Byrne.
Here.
Thank you, Ms. Doggett. Now, before we move to the next item on the agenda, is approval of the agenda. I would like to, for someone to put up a motion, I would like to add the president's report after the mayor's report and the individual committee reports after the police chief.
Seconded.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Do you have any discussion with that?
I'll just point out, amendments to the agenda are difficult in meeting sunshine act rules, but this is not, these reports are not matters of deliberation or action, so I think they fall into the that's acceptable. Absolutely, that's the agenda. I'll start the new rules require any amended agenda posted to the website tomorrow.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion is passed. I would like to take a motion, next item, to approve the minutes for December 27th, 2023 meeting of Borough Council. Second. The motion has been moved to second. Any discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion has been approved. Next. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for January 3rd, 2024? So moved. Yes, second.
Second.
The motion has been moved to second. Do you have any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion has passed. Next item on the agenda, mayor's report.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Lansdowne. First of all, I want to thank everyone for accommodating this last minute change in the venue. As you can see, we've enlisted some help, extra help for the sound this evening, so I hope that all right. So yes, perfect example of some extra help with sound this evening, so I hope that helps everyone at home here. This is really the first chance I've had to speak to you all this year, so happy New Year. It's great to see you online or in person, and I hope you all have a healthy and prosperous year ahead of us. This past holiday season in Lansdowne was magical, as it usually is, and traditionally, I will be preparing to give out the Jingle Judge Awards at our next meeting in February. However, everyone's homes were so beautiful that I gave out way too many awards, 304 to be exact.
Wow.
To get my hand slapped for that. So this year, we're just gonna mail out everyone's awards to you. every time I give these awards out, I say the same thing, and I'm gonna say it again today. I just want to thank you all so much for adding to the festive spirit of the holidays. To me, the holidays really show the heart and soul of this borough. Also, if you a flashlight shines into your home on any of the nights that myself and my elves were out in the lights, we're so sorry. We were just trying to see your house numbers. And as I always like to remind my PSA whenever I do jingle judging or dual awards or anything, please make sure your house numbers are lit and visible. It is not just for me doing the awards, but it is really important in the event that you need help from the first responders. So please make sure that your house numbers are visible and lit. At the next meeting, I am giving out the King's Award, and I will lay again, and I apologize. Eventually I'm gonna get these dates together. But for 2023, I've decided to award the King's Award to Marie King's Award. Marie has been involved in many things throughout the years, but the cornerstone of all her work is with the Lansdowne Library. Our library is really awesome, and it's my honor to give Marie this award at the February 7th council meeting. This weekend, and I say this cautiously since I have seen the weather reports for this weekend, is the Lansdowne Winter Harvest Market from 10 to 12 p.m. at the Lansdowne Avenue Lot. Also this weekend is a Buying Up in Lansdowne 5K walk that begins at 8 a.m. at the Lansdowne. If you are attending either of these events, please consider pressing early. And lastly, to everyone on council and residents alike, congratulations on surviving the first month of 2024. I know that new council members and new leadership and big changes can sometimes be scary and frustrating. I firmly believe that the men and women who volunteer to sit in a position like this really pour their hearts and souls into serving this community, and I have faith that great things are to come. So that is my report for this evening. Are there any questions for me?
Thank you, Mayor Byrne. So we're moving, now we move on to the president's report. I'll just be a minute or so, a man, a few words. So I do have a brief president message or report. I first want to start off by saying good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not used to this. First, I want to start off by saying good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending the meeting tonight. I'm excited to serve in this new role as president of council. I look forward to collaborating and listening to each council member. My goal is to make sure all members of council have a voice, as well as the community being heard. I know this won't be easy, but I'm committed to making it happen. That was a part of the reason why I wanted to run, because I wanted to have more collaboration with council. I also wanted to have more community input, and that's going to be my goal moving forward this year. Now, as you know, there was a couple articles written regarding the borough manager. I just want to make a brief announcement about that. My only public comment in response to the borough manager issue is that it's a personnel issue, and that it was voted on January 3rd. And I know people have questions, and I totally understand. But the council voted on January 3rd to not remove the contract. Moreover, just for additional information, we will be moving, starting the hiring process as the borough manager soon, and we will solicit community input and stakeholder input. I look forward to the months ahead, getting to know everyone. And if you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me. My email is on Lansdowne Borough website. And again, I look forward to meeting everyone, getting to know you moving forward as president of council. Thank you for your time. Any questions? Yes.
If you could please give more details about the process that the manager can do. One of the concerns that I had.
Yes, can you turn on? Sorry, interrupt.
It's on.
Sorry, we got
What?
thank you.
We can't hear you, he's just saying get a mic in front of you so we can.
What?
President Curry.
I got you. I got it. No.
So the question that was voiced to me is just process wise. Okay, we're in this hiring process, and I understand that, you mentioned it's, started soon. Could you please be more specific about when, dates and meeting, which we're going to advertise, for the borough manager, just looking at the timeline, and being in the process of hiring past, the chief and city clerk, for example, it took 6 to 7 months, and just want to make sure that we have the quality candidates that would be there. Just to, so can we have more specifics?
Yeah, so formally, we haven't decided the process, but as I mentioned that, number one, first, we have to have a job description. Before we solicit one applying for any position, we have a job description specifically for the position. Currently, we don't have that. And so I think, and that's been discussed in one of our committees, the finance committee. I think the goal is the first to get that done first, and then we'll map out a plan on the hiring process after that.
President, can I add to that?
Yes.
I also wanted to mention that the job description is underway, a draft is underway, and as President Berg mentioned, we want some community input, not on the draft per se, but on things they would like to see as part of the job description. And the council will be reviewing the draft as well, and making their inputs, and we're going to do it just as fast as we can. Also, we plan on partnering with certain services that will help increase the diversity of the applicants for our position, and that is it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. We will now move on to the interim borough manager.
Thank you, President Kirk. Can you hear me? I'm not used to talking to my. So first, thank you for coming. And first thing I'd like to do is thank the Public Works Department, who really did a great job in handling this last snow, ice, rain, whatever storm. It started on Monday night, I guess, and Tuesday morning by 8:30, 9 o'clock, all the streets had been sanded, and they were getting ready for their next go round. So kudos to them, and thank you to our Public Works Department. Secondly, I just want to announce that all of the council committee, boards, and commission meetings for the year have been advertised on the website as well as in the newspaper. I'm currently working with volunteer on getting the recreation program 20th Century Club calendar updated so that we know all the days that the club is going to be in use. Thirdly, we have received a grant from the Greenway Trails and Recreation Program out of the Department of Community and Economic Development for $85,000 to improve the lighting at Hoffman Park. And I'll be having a phone meeting tomorrow to talk about that. We are waiting for a kickoff meeting for a Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission grant for the South Lansdowne Avenue pedestrian crossing that keeps getting rescheduled, and we don't have a date for that yet, but that's in the works. I'll be attending a meeting on January 25th with the Redevelopment Capital Assistance Program to talk about reimbursement and such for the theater project. And in our council members' packets are a list of maintenance and repair items for the firehouse. It's fairly extensive. Our codes director is going to be going over there, prioritizing what needs to be done, and we'll look to see if there's funding available to make some of these repairs. That's my report.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Ms. Lambert? Yes.
The email that you sent, is that still on the meeting tomorrow? Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, we're going to move on to the solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have a report.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Scott. Any questions for the solicitor? All right, so we're going to move on to the engineer's report. Mr. Massey.
Hi, folks. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah, good.
Kevin Madison, Borough here. Just a few things to report. I had the opportunity to meet with our interim borough manager last week. They go over a whole litany of projects, put together status reports, and work basically where things are. But just to report on a few things that council has acted on the last few months. Back in December, the council awarded a road restoration project on the east end of town. That was awarded to Damon. So that was awarded back on December 20th. We have sent over all the information to prepare the contracts. We're awaiting a few things from them. Once we get that, it's compiled. We're going to have pre-construction meetings so we get underway for that work. Tonight, I think an item on the agenda is going to be the additional improvement at the firehouse for the heaters. Again, this contract, I think, went out back in November. Came back, I think there was explained the Olympic Cup, there was an issue with one of the heater submittals, so there's an issue, and I think there's a change order in the process. I have no objection to that change order. I think if we're going to do the heaters, we might as well do them all. They were installed in the 1980s. They're more or less limping along, but even like this, you don't want to have that equipment. Drop one for you. Unless there's any other questions, I had the opportunity to meet with our interim manager, and last week I did meet with our public works department to make sure that we have a smooth transition. So unless there's any other questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mattson. Any questions from Mr. Mattson? Thank you, sir. We will now move to the police chief report. Chief Butler.
Thank you, President. Good evening, everyone. Some statistics for January, but overall for the year for the police department. For December, excuse me, we responded to 411 police incident reports, 32 false burglar or auto alarms. We responded to 31 motor vehicle accidents. 10 adults were arrested, 7 juveniles were arrested. We issued 401 parking tickets, 46 motor vehicle violations, 11 non-traffic citations. We towed 6 abandoned vehicles, 5 other vehicles were towed for other violations, and we responded to 41 domestic related calls for service. For the 2023 year, we responded to 5,630 police incidents, 315 false burglar or auto alarms, 401 motor vehicle accidents, 119 adults were arrested, 77 juveniles were arrested. We issued 7,964 parking tickets. We responded to 976 motor vehicle accidents. We issued 976 motor vehicle violations, 80 non-traffic citations. We towed 80 abandoned vehicles for the year. 89 vehicles were towed for other violations, and we responded to 488 calls related to domestic problems. Just a couple other things. We just completed the first phase of our track system, which is the in-car citations that they'll now be printed. We'll no longer be handwriting them. That's been going on for about a year, and it was paid for with grant money. So that's the first phase. Second phase, we're still working on, which will automatically upload those citations to the state without having to go through the court system. So that should be done within the next few months. Just waiting for the state. We're working with this Harvard School and Elmer High School for their requirements for the state for knockdown drills and fire drills. And we have our biannual civil service commission meeting February 5th. That's all I have.
I saw a post from Officer Murray. I want to know, I didn't hear how many snowmen were built in there.
Was it by Officer Murray?
I think he was in the picture. Who was it?
It was the Lansdowne police station page. Officer Murray was in the page.
Okay, so
I don't know the total. It was at least 3.
at least three?
At least 3.
Okay, it's really fun to see that, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions for Chief? All right, thank you. So now we're going to move into the committee reports. I don't have a specific order, so I'll just start with Chief's comments with the finance report.
Yep, I'll try to be as brief as I can, but a lot has happened in the finance and the technology committee. First, outbidding for the Veterans Landing Project passed our committee. We agreed to bring the council for vote to submit the RFP to be created by the borough engineer and receive of final plans from NV5. The goal was to put out the RFP in February, and the final goal was to complete work by the end of September before the opening of the Lansdowne Theater. We will not have final costs until the RFP is in and the contractor chosen, but the majority or all of funds should be available via grants. As we have to pay up front and then get reimbursed with grants, we will have to watch for our cash flow before 2024 taxes are paid. Moving into new business, we were going to have a 2024 budget review, but it was tabled pending the last bills of December being entered and entry of the 2024 budget into the accounting system. So we will be taking that on first thing in February. The borough manager job description, as I mentioned, we're creating the first draft of that right now from the existing Lansdowne and other examples, including the borough handbook, to circulate to the committee and the borough manager and the council as a first step. And also, as I mentioned, we are going to be contracting with certain services that will help us increase the diversity of our applicants. A review for our staffing needs is being taken on by Councilperson Young. She's going to create a first draft of that for the borough office staff. Borough IT advisor, our committee recommends to continue using Lansdowne technologies during this transition to facilitate updates to technology over the next 3 to 6 months. They're going to move to contracted services from hourly billing. We've asked them to do that. This contract will be reviewed by committee at the first February meeting. And I have consulted with Councilor Scott regarding 1099 status, and that was approved. The committee recommends to put IT service out for RFP after the initial updates are complete. In terms of technology upgrades for council, we are going to recommend research into purchase and setup of up to 10 Chromebooks or similar for use by borough council, 7 of those, the mayor, 1 of those, and the facilities, 1 for the meeting room and 1 for the 20th Century Club, as well as lock boxes for the 20th Century Club tech. This is to ensure that adequate technology is provided for simplicity and safety of borough information. The borough manager will liaise with the library regarding a checkout form for signature. The committee recommends research into purchase and setup of microphone and speaker technology in the meeting room and in the 20th Century Club to ensure adequate sound agreement on Zoom. And again, I want to add my thanks to the mayors for your patience. We're very eager to get all these worked out. Technology has been key in that, but the equipment we were left with is just very difficult to use and sync. So bear with us, and hopefully tonight this is a good example of improvement, and we'll continue to improve until we can make a full setup. We also recommend research into Ethernet access here at the 20th Century Club to ensure hybrid meetings can be adequately held. These old buildings have very thick walls and cannot, the wireless cannot get through to where we need it to be, so we'll be looking into that. And we also recommend research into using SharePoint or similar for storing and sharing records by borough staff and council and mayor, because Google Docs is simply not secure, and this would be the easiest way to facilitate sharing important documents. We were going to have technology training for council this evening before our meeting, but unfortunately the Borough Hall had other ideas. So we will look to reschedule that. And the Borough website refresh, we are looking into, we had an initial meeting with Dandelion on 112 to talk about that. The agenda included the contract process and operations and the initial desire for website reorganization to be more user-friendly, and I'll talk a bit more about that in other business. We did have that initial meeting with Dandelion, and we learned that the Civic Plus platform on which the website is based, and on which many borough websites are based, can be improved, but to achieve media-like results, we need to update to Civic Plus Media, which at an additional cost, of course. Wellstone Technologies is investigating the costs, and Dandelion can support the migration for $5,000, and it takes about 3 months. I need to talk about this with committee, but my personal recommendation is that we update as best we can this year and plan for funds next year for this update. Currently, homepage items are optimized based on the frequency of searches and visits, so I wanted to make that clear. There are currently unused modules that we can investigate, such as linking into the agenda center with calendars and also having multiple calendars for facilities, which we should take on as quickly as possible, and those are included in the contract. And that will improve navigation somewhat and ease of finding information. Dandelion will create a proposal for utilizing the facilities platform. We then recommended that we have a local photographer take current pics of facilities around town for use on the site and social media. And also they recommended the short phone videos for council members of borough events would use social media hits. So I just wanted to park that with the council. For the borough calendar, Dandelion recommends not having non-borough items on the borough calendar for these reasons. Adding a nonprofit or business event to the government calendar could lead to objections from organizations that are not listed. An organization could find itself in trouble at some point, either financially or with the law, and having that organization's event on the official government calendar could lead to legal issues. Residents view the calendar to find out about upcoming meetings of borough-sponsored events, and it's confusing to see nonprofit or other organizational events on a calendar that is specifically marked as a local government calendar. These community organization events should be added by the LNBC and are added by the LNBC to their calendar, and they're usually very good about doing that. And what we can do is have a link to the LNBC calendar on our borough calendar. That will be my recommendation and the recommendation, as I mentioned, of our contractor, Dandelion. They also noted that none of their other municipal clients add community events that are not sponsored or hosted by them to their calendars for all the reasons listed previously. We are going to propose that Dandelion and Millstone Technologies give 15 to 20-minute presentations to council, either in advance of the first February meeting and take questions or during the council meeting. So I'll be reaching out to President Curry about including that in the agenda. We would like to create a technical board subcommittee to include members of the community to help support our initiatives. Zoom is still a security risk, although we have seen improvements in blocking Zoom bombing, which I'm very grateful for. We're investigating costs and the compatibility of the government platform Swagit, which is packaged with AV technology. For example, how media council meetings are run. Again, I don't know that is going to be in the budget for this year, but we're investigating now for planning for future years. We're now making use of the website front page banner for day-to-day information such as road closings, movement of tonight's meeting, etc., and for pushing out social media as well. Dandelion does get Aqua and Pico road closure info for that purpose. We need to confirm the holiday calendar with Dandelion, and I will send that to the Community Relations Committee. Monitoring social media other than non-private groups is part of Dandelion's contract. Please, to the council, send any ideas for articles. One suggestion by Dandelion that I thought was great was to do bios of each council member, and they would take on calling and interviewing each person for those bios and put a photo up on the site. And we agreed to have monthly 30-minute check-ins with Dandelion, the borough manager, the tech team chair, and the IT consultant, as well as ad hoc members as needed. Thank you for putting up with me through that very long report.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Do you have any questions?
I do have one question, because I know that in the past, I know that in the past, we talked about utilizing QR code to list events, and I'm curious to know that then obviously this would be in tandem with the LNDC, so the LNDC would need to be agreeable. But if we can tie their events and our events together someplace, so that when somebody does scan the QR code, they get a comprehensive list of everything that's happening. I think that even if it's not on a calendar, maybe it's just a landing page, but some place that where if we do utilize those QR codes and someone scans it, that they'll see a comprehensive list, not just here's where borough council meetings are and here's Arts on the Avenue and some other place. So anything we can do to make that more seamless treatment.
No, that's a great idea. As I mentioned, at least in the short term. And by the way, I have the QR codes on my list. They just didn't make the report today because they're more 3 to 6 month initiatives. When you go to the borough calendar, you will have a link to the LEDC calendar as well. And look into see if there's a way to streamline that even further, but at the very least, they will see the link to go to the LEDC calendar as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
If I may, Council President, yeah. To answer Mayor's question, one of the development applicants that we worked with last year with Wins on Economic Development Corporation, with Wins on Arts and Cultural Council. That was the idea that you could have in that place. So it's not necessarily borough council events or borough council meetings, but the actual borough events would be listed on that. Then also any of the arts venues in downtown, as well as any LEDC events as well. So that was the idea behind that. That way it's sort of a separate calendar just for cultural events as opposed to necessarily civic majors. So that might be a spot that we use for that and work with that in the contract.
Okay, we'll investigate that.
President. But you stated in the beginning about the MD5 design.
Mhm.
We don't know the amount of the bid. We don't know the amount of the work.
No, the design, then jump in here if I get something wrong. My understanding is the design is paid for, it just wasn't completed yet to hand off to put out an RFP for the construction.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Hines.
Thank you.
Next, infrastructure, Commissioner.
Yes, good evening. This is my January 2024 report. So, under sewers, we have an approval for an American Investment Plan Act funds for a sewer project, and we will be submitting the paperwork to get that done. We are looking at some paving projects, one in particular with the possibility that the farmer's market has to be moved due to the construction on Veterans Landing and Highland Avenue parking lot. The Highland Avenue parking lot is being inspected for possible pitfalls. There may be some routine maintenance required. I asked the borough engineer and the borough public works director to take a look and see if there's anything we can do to make that a better situation. There are no trash or recycling concerns. Our recycling contract ends at the end of this year, so that we have to just put on our to-do list. But we do want you to all remember to reduce, reuse, and recycle. It still costs us less to recycle product than it does to throw it away. Yard waste is going to be back in form, I'm sure, after the snow. Christmas trees, if you still haven't thrown yours away, they are yard waste. There's no separate pickup. Just make sure that they are free of inorganic material. The street signs, Mr. Mattson, do you want to update the street signs?
And we contracted with a company called Garden State Signs. It was last year, and they had received everything. They did send us a bill. We just haven't received the signs. So a little bit, we're not naturally we're not paying until we get the signs. But I'm just sure that we would have to have the signs at this point.
Okay.
We just don't have them. We have a bill. I sent to our contact there. I said, I'm old fashioned. Before we pay you, we have to get the signs. So that's what.
Yes. Okay. I'm with you. All right. Under facilities, the borough under the borough hall, the new generator is ready to go pending pad construction. I didn't know we would not have heat when this was done. And a point of interest, Mr. Joswiak suggested the purchase of a really powerful generator that will not only satisfy the building needs in the event of a power outage, but also provide power to EV chargers should the borough start to add electric vehicles to its fleet. In the 2020 House, the LEDC is requesting security cameras for the property. The issue there is that there's no internet in the building, and the Wi-Fi they have is from this building, and we've just discussed in Raleigh's committee that it's too much. So we're going to be figuring out the cost to upgrade so that we can use the building better. The Public Works Director will be providing information, this on the borough yard. If we need to do a garage redo, apparently our equipment does not fit in our current garages. And so removing one section of the building and replacing it with a pole barn structure would solve that problem, so we're going to be looking into doing that. It shouldn't be that expensive because we don't need to have any utilities in that section of the building. The committee is asking for a proposal from the director for further review. As mentioned, and there is by Mr. Mattson, and there's also a motion, the firehouse needs heating units, and the vote from the committee was to replace them all with 93% efficiency heaters. There had been, the original approval was for 3 heaters, but the 4th one is on its last leg. So that's why we're asking to let's just do the whole project and get it done at one time. Codes now under my committee, and the codes director submitted some documents to the committee. One was a code stat summary and a cumulative report. We're talking about redoing that a little bit so that we can make more sense. And he also supplied the committee with meeting dates and agendas for all the historic architectural review board and the zoning hearing board and the planning commission. And I sent copies. I think I sent copies of that report to all the council members for them to see. But if I didn't, I will. There's building permits pending for Dudley Avenue, the Habitat for Humanity project, and the Baltimore Avenue, Wycombe Avenue, Callahan Ward project. He's also helping us with problem properties reports. Residents should feel free to report concerns they have around properties around the borough, such as empty buildings, overgrown vegetation, or questionable activity. This can be done easily and confidentially on the website under the submit a request navigation and report a building concern. Our ordinance requires that any vacant property be registered with HERA, which keeps track of all of them and helps us manage that. HERA is a registry platform used by municipalities and government agencies across the nation to help combat the problems caused by vacant and abandoned properties. There is no cost to the community. HERA is completely free for local governments. Properties that are vacant and abandoned have a detrimental impact on the community, including maintenance issues and inviting criminal activity. In the case where property owners are out of state or property is undergoing foreclosure, it's often difficult to notice the responsible party for violations and maintain the necessary level of maintenance and security. So it's not a huge concern in the borough, but during public comment in Environment and Parks, the situation was addressed. We had someone come and talk with a public comment suggesting that there are some issues in their neighborhood with litter and boarded up building, and they just wanted us to be aware of it. So that's why I brought it to the attention of the codes director. And we also had some complaints about litter and trash at the Dollar Tree lot and the CVS, and our codes director reported that they routinely cite those businesses. Under my liaison boards, the HART's next meeting is January 25th, 7 p.m. Borough Hall to discuss signage at 94 Lansdowne Avenue. The zoning hearing board is meeting January 24th, 7 p.m. about 123 Nyack variances on a garage and 98 McKinley variances on setbacks for a new house. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to public safety.
Okay.
This is the health and public safety report for January 2024. We recently discussed the EMT in Norfolk data, and we want to take a deeper dive into the relationship between Lansdowne and East Lansdowne. We are going to start advertising for a part-time police officer. If not, I think we already started that. We're moving forward with Simon's Park and the AED installation. We have a meeting with them on January 25th. We have vacancies on the Human Relations Commission. There are 5 vacancies at this time. And there is also a vacancy on the Civil Service Commission. In our last meeting, we also discussed no parking on unit block north and south of Lansdowne. Although we're not moving forward with that at this time, but it is a topic that came up because of safety concerns. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Ms. Pointer. Do you have any questions? Ms. Pointer? Thank you. We're going to move on to economic development.
Thank you, President Curry. We last met at Economic Development on January 10th, 6:00 p.m. In attendance in the committee, Vice President Whitaker, Councilman Molly Connors, Mayor Maggie Bird, Director of Code Enforcement, Dr. Osback, myself, and also in the audience, I kept Curry come up as Councilman Young. Thank you for coming me. And at the meeting, we started off discussing community development block grants. We just submitted 2 in January, one for the lighting, it's not happening, another for some sewer work that's going to happen. We also discussed the American Rescue Plan funding that we currently do have a balance in it that does need to be spent by 2025. And one of the suggestions that we agree to council would be determined once we get the bids that come in for NB5 is to use that funding for the NB5 Veterans Landing project. We also discussed building permits in the planning commission, and I do just want to give very briefly the end of the year discussion. It was pretty nice to see just the amount of vote first. Before that, I'll do the planning commission. The planning commission met and discussed project McKinley, emerging movements. And at the end of the year stats, and I think this is really wonderful to see, the total permits issued project cost in Lansdowne was $18,356,024, with permitting fees of $720,641, and that is a wonderful thing to see in Lansdowne. It's happening in terms of our community. We just want to hope that continues into the coming year with a number of major projects that are happening. We discussed the historic Lansdowne Theater Corporation updates. There's an item on the agenda tonight. I want to thank Executive Director Matt Schultz for attending the meeting and giving us the rundown and updates for the Theater Corporation, and also for us to consider the easement that's being requested by the Historic Lansdowne Theater Corporation. We discussed the Lansdowne Arts and Cultural Council contract, Lansdowne Economic Development Corporation contract. During that meeting as well, the chair of the Economic Development Corporation, Bill Brown, requested that they would rescind the proposed contract and provide a new borough contract, provide a new request, I should say, to the borough for a new contract. We'll be discussing that in the February meeting. In that contract, there is a change of request, but I think some clarifications to happen with it. I'm unclear if it's not a matter of less than $25,000 more, or if it's a matter of merging two existing contracts. So we'll discuss that in more detail. The executive director, Debbie Gordon, also gave information about possible streetscape grants, which she did email to council. We'll discuss that as well at the meeting in February. We discussed the Lansdowne Community Day initial planning, and I will continue that to Relations Committee with Councilman Griffith on our side on economic development. This is a revival of a previous borough event that occurred, where they celebrated Founders Day, so celebrating the founding of Lansdowne, and we're trying to grow it into more of what it used to be the local festival in the downtown, in collaboration with Lansdowne Economic Development Corporation, as well as with our businesses in the downtown, that would have some more marketing and advertising for. We also discussed the status of the Hoffman Park mural. Right now it's in a sort of stasis because of the weather. But once it's completed and having some kind of marketing and advertising event, as well as reaching out to different electives that participated in the funding for it, and that's something we want to do in April or May, in February or March because of the weather. We discussed briefly as well wayfinding and community development. Media Borough has a wayfinding master plan up, something that they passed and also committed to. This has been a long-term discussion we've had in Lansdowne about the signage. Once we have the theater open, we have different events, we would like to have better signage in our community that would direct people to places like 20th Century Club. You don't know it's there unless you get up to it. So if you have signage at the beginning of the north side of Lansdowne and down, that's something that we could work. We do have, I believe, a new planning commission. There's also some individuals that are coming up for renewal, so that will be discussed in February. And then the last thing that we discussed was the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission Section 5 requirements. That's something that's going to be on the agenda, I believe, beginning of February. That's February. Those are required notices that are put up in places of landing as well as places of accommodation. And we discussed having that be part of the permitting process when people go back for their UNOs that they then and also when we do inspections, that's something that's checked to ensure that we're providing a place of non-discrimination. I do want to mention as well, and was mentioned by our manager, Phil Busford, that we did apply for a grant to develop Department of Community and Economic Development's the Solo Shale Legacy Fund to receive $85,000 for improvements in our community. And that was something that we received. And also was mentioned by Councilmember Young, the American Rescue Plan, small water sewer fee of $200,000. And it's really nice to see that coming in the community. And I do want to take a moment to thank our state senator Tim Kearney and also Representative Gina Hacker-Curry for advocating on our behalf that they do work on and encourage work to try to get that funding for our community. That concludes my report. We meet next for Homeless People Economic Development on February 14th at 6 o'clock. So that you can bring your sweethearts.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Moving on to community relations, Mr. Burke. Thank you, Mr. President. Community relations did not meet in January. However, we will be meeting February 6th at 6:30 p.m. Hopefully via Zoom and also in borough chambers. But from our liaison groups, the library met, and there was just some discussion of, I see down in our motions, the use and access of 47 South Lansdowne Avenue, which I hope we will be discussing in our motions. Also, in the library meeting, May 4th, the library should be requesting to use of the 20th Century Club from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. hosting a fundraiser featuring Quizzo and pizza starting at 6 p.m. So again, the library is requesting May 4th to use the 20th Century Club from times 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. hosting a fundraiser featuring Quizzo and pizza. And that's all from my report for the so thank you, Mr. Krieger. Yeah, anybody have any questions? That's a game. Any other questions from Mr. Krieger? All right, so Ms. Marshall, you're up next. I know you're online, but do you have anything for environment? Yeah.
while we're waiting
Oh,
for.
Yes, so if I could, I'm sorry. Yeah. So the big thing was, I know in 2023, we hosted ad hoc committee meetings for facilities. The big thing for the library was, do we have anything on the books, or is there any futuristic looking for a ad hoc committee meeting for facilities in 2024? As a count, just, I know it's on the spot, but is there, I guess as days go on, can we possibly come to an agreement on a facilities ad hoc meeting with the library and council to discuss the 2024 plans?
Yeah, I think that might, that question might come to infrastructure. Right, that infrastructure are all there. And if that's something that, we want to do, that should be the path. And so, yeah, put that to me.
Thank you.
No problem. Ms. Marshall?
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
You can, great, thank you. Let's see. The first part of my report is we had an orientation for our new member of Environment and Parks, Council Member Molly Connors. So I just want to extend my appreciation to her for going through that orientation. We had our meeting this month on January 8th from 6 to 7 p.m. At Borough Hall, but also via Zoom. During executive session, we did interview someone for the open EAC position. At next month's Borough Council meeting, I'd like to bring forth a motion to approve this person to be on the EAC. We also talked about other vacancies. Parks and Rec has many vacancies, so if there's anyone interested in being on the Parks and Recreation Board, there are many openings. We also gave an update on community choice aggregation. That's when we can get a source of green electricity. We're combining forces with other municipalities, and there's a discussion with the Public Utilities Commission, so we'll know more in the next several weeks about that. We talked about the timeline of the single-use plastic bag and single-use plastic straw ordinance and the timeline for that. We want to send out a survey shortly, and then we'll want to engage business owners, just to kind of get them up to speed on like what the idea is, and then have at least 3 public meetings. One of them would be completely through Zoom, one of them would be in person, and the other one would be combined with perhaps some kind of like a children's program at the library. We talked about the update on the Hoffman Park mural, that we see that it's progressing. We gave an update on the message signs at the Parks and Recreation meeting this upcoming Monday. Hopefully, we'll be able to get a final determination on where those message signs are going to go. We talked about the Great Backyard Bird Count, and as a reminder, there's going to be a fabulous event at the library on Tuesday, January 23rd. I believe it starts at 5:30. And it's not just in person at the library. You can also connect through Zoom, but you have to send an email to a particular email address to get the Zoom link. And that email address is lareference@delcolibraries.org. So if you send an email to that address saying you want a Zoom link, you can get a Zoom link to this. So what the event is on January 23rd is it's going to talk about how to participate in the Great Backyard Bird Count, talk about the app that you use when you, for as little as 15 minutes, you either just maybe go in your backyard or go in a park and observe the birds. And you'll be able to indicate, the color of the birds that you see, like the sounds from the birds. And it's going to be like a really fun thing to do together as a community. And actually, we're a part of a larger international community because it's happening all around the world, February 16th through 19th. But the event on the 23rd is to just get people up to speed on how to use the app and how to participate. We also talked about, we have a white paper about electric vehicle charging. The committee, the Environment and Parks Committee is currently reviewing that. We'll talk about it at the next Environment and Parks meeting. There was also some discussion of possible like green sustainable practices perhaps in the facilities plan, but I think that should be brought forward whenever there's a meeting about the facilities plan. And the Shade Tree Commission, their next meeting is going to be in February. They didn't meet this month. I think that's all for my report.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall. Do you have any questions for Ms. Marshall? Hearing none. We will now move into public comment. I would like to take a motion to suspend Robert rules of order. Thank you, Mr. Over. So the motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor? The motion has passed. We are now in public comment. I just ask that please state your name and place of residence for record. Please limit your response to 5 minutes or less. I will move back between in person and also online. Would anyone in person like to address that?
President, may I add something quickly?
Yes.
Online, you would need to put your comment in chat to be read out. Is that correct, Adrian?
That just said that in the chat box.
Oh, it just came back?
Yes, so
Thank you, sorry.
if they raise their hand, they should be able to.
Thank you. Yes.
Good evening, Jennifer Haas, Windermere Avenue. Regarding downtown and the conversation about parking. So my business is on South Lansdowne Avenue. There's 3 parking spots. Two. Yeah, 2.
Here's the microphone.
Jennifer Hoff, Windermere Avenue. Regarding downtown, and the parking conversation, I'd like to expand that conversation to have a plan with what we think this central business district should look like. Hitting it piecemeal will not end well for businesses like mine. Right now, there are 3 parking spots on South Lansdowne Avenue, 1 in front of my building at 23 South Lansdowne Avenue and 2 across the street at Cadence. There is not signage to other parking at all in the borough, really. It doesn't say where the handicap parking is. It's not close to the street. So my ask is that we really think about this as a whole project, not just parking spots. We need signage for parking, we need creation of handicap parking, we need evening lighting. We have tree pits that are crumbling and need an upgrade. So if we could tackle the whole thing, that would be much more helpful to business like mine. We talk about traffic moving through the central business district. I actually want to slow traffic down. It benefits my business if folks don't hit Lansdowne Avenue 40 miles an hour. It does me no good. 20 miles an hour, nice and slow, nice and safe, really will help the downtown, especially as we add apartment buildings and condos and stuff like that. We will be more walkers. We need to be very conscious. Our sidewalks aren't that wide, so we have to be conscious of it all. So that's it. Just a quick.
Thank you. Do we have any that would like to take that conversation? Anyone else like to talk about what talk about? Any other committees?
I would suggest since there's signage involved, that infrastructure.
I didn't hear what the mayor said.
I said that since there's signs involved, infrastructure should also be.
But this is part of the Wayfair finding that you're talking about. And I will say that I went to media the other day, and the one thing I talked to the media borough manager, and one thing they did was they made all of their signage consistent. So it's all the same color, it's all, so when you see it, it's the says this is the media sign. So I think that that's why it's a really good idea to follow through on that. So certainly, if there's anything that we can do in our committee, support it. But, there are parking signs though for Highland Avenue, it's just right by the Dunkin' Donuts, sign. But you're right, we could do better.
Off of Lansdowne Avenue,
Okay.
there's no, like, to the municipal lot, to the municipal lot behind me, to SEPTA after hours.
Yeah, we can do better, so.
Thank you. Hands up online, do we have any other comments in person? Yes, sir.
Josh Moore, First Avenue. I wanted to come in tonight because it was disconcerting to see what was flying around the press in the past week. And it was more upsetting to know that it came from within council. First of all, I don't like coming to Borough Council meetings to say what I don't like is I want to be here to share ideas, I want to be here to work with council as a citizen to come up with things that we need and that we like, want to do together. And so I'm hoping that will change, but I wanted to mention the other thing I don't like to do is make it seem like it's not about business. I don't want to make my comments seem like they're pointed at a person. I come here and I talk about things like what we're spending on and what we're and why we're doing it, and how we can do it. But Councilmember Hover went to this and he talked about Lansdowne. And I don't know how it is economic development to give our town a black eye by shortly before talking about how we're violating the Sunshine Act to have done almost exactly the same process step by step with our Parks and Rec director. To have executive sessions with no details printed on the agenda, to have the position eliminated with no public comment, and then to very shortly after go to the press to say, wow, the executive sessions weren't given any details, and there was an offer of public comment, and the position was eliminated without discussion. So it's disingenuous and it's dishonest, and that's going to be the end of my personal address to council, but that was not in the best interest of the citizens, it was not in the best interest of council, it was not in the best interest of Lansdowne to do that. Aside from the journalistic integrity, which was extremely lacking in that article, because the entire article clearly was written by somebody who's the son of an editorial writer working at the Inquirer, who watched one video, who took comments from Councilmember Hover, Councilmember Hover's neighbor, and Councilmember Hover's friend from another borough that doesn't even live in about Lansdowne business, which we've had many conversations about lately. People can comment on our business, that's fine. When we're deciding on what that business is and how it works, that's for the people of Lansdowne, not for everyone to sit there and put their finger in our pie and try and figure out how they can get involved in steering the course of what we who live here and our taxes pay for how this town works, what we are trying to decide through our representative government to do. That said, I'm disappointed and I hope it doesn't happen again. You're making Councilmember Griffin's job harder in community relations by making it look like we don't play by the rules here when you go and do something like that. And so, I mean, I'm speaking to all of council, I'm addressing Councilmember Hover because he's the source of this black eye that we have to deal with now. But we're trying to improve the town. And I hear sometimes that we're trying to improve the town and then I don't see the actions in that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Comment?
President Curry, respond, because I think that what happened was a Sunshine Act violation. I think we're fixing it by having the two motions on tonight's agenda. I appreciate that we do have these two motions put back on the agenda that would move it the right way, where it's advertised in the amount of time. That there was a change that occurred between the summer and winter, and that happened in November. Mr. Scott, that was a conflict court case, correct? In which there were different provisions for the Sunshine. I was not to reach out to anybody in the press. The press reached out to me, and I stated, I'm sorry that there opinions, and if you disagree with that. My fidelity is to the oath that I took to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for the residents of Lansdowne, not just a few residents, but all the residents of Lansdowne, to make sure that we conduct ourselves in a legal manner. I think that this is fixing it. I appreciate that. I think that I'm satisfied with each of you. And if I feel there's something there, I will do my best to communicate what that error is to council and do things in the right way. I think that's an important part of the council is to do that. That way we are conducting ourselves in the best possible way following the council.
Respectfully, you're not concerned with that when you did it the exact opposite. You did the opposite of what you said you're concerned with before you did what you were concerned with.
But it's over, you know what you got? Okay, yeah, so for me, just to make a quick comment, I'm moving on from this topic, as I mentioned at the beginning of my statement. The council made a decision, and that's the decision that was made. I hope that, moving forward, when council makes decisions, whether we all agree or we don't agree, that we can have one message. Because ultimately, I may not agree with what something you may put up, but if it gets approved, then we have one message. And I would definitely respect that, and the council as a whole would respect each other's choices and opinions on when making decisions.
I concur, and I conclude with one from the initial incident to the things.
Any other? Yes.
I think that while we spoke with the Guard and they recommend that all media contact the president,
It did, their recommendation was that all council members refer media to the president, moving forward. And that has been the recommendation that they've given all of their borough clients and all of their known borough clients, operate under that.
Cool. And I hope that we can move forward with that instead of speaking to the media directly.
Yeah, I mean, that's always, I've been on council for 2 years, that's always been the process, so, it was just a shame that that wasn't maintained throughout this process.
Can we make a motion on that, or does that need to wait for a future meeting? It's not on the agenda. Okay.
Do we have any other, do we have anyone online? Anyone in person? Any other comments? Yes.
Thank you, Council President. Bill Horton, Linden. Just want to speak about the parking spaces. Sorry, Chief. I'd make a note that when Jennifer Hoff had stated about the 40-hour speed is not good for anybody. Well, South Lansdowne Ave, I tell you, I've said this before. With the bike lanes, there is no buffer to condition down the raceway dragway that's now presented. So, I mean, that should be looked at because it is just like a downhill slide. So also, maybe all this tax stuff, Council President Hoover had stated that the balance in American Reef funds, maybe we could use that for some of the tech upgrades. I mean, I think that is within the purview of that money, so maybe that could be looked at, because there's a lot of money needed, and it's better to spend it once than spend enough. Also, executive session, I'm not sure what the real estate, the Bay Street building is going to be used for. I know it's been closed, and it's a shame, but I don't know if the borough buying it is going to open it up for something. And maybe if there's the insight after executive session, if there's a vote or not. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm going in front.
Heather Carpenter from Madison Road. This may not be the appropriate forum for this, but I have a question. Where our house backs to the railroad tracks there, and we have a large family of fox that live back there, and there is a bad case of mange that's running through them, and these animals are suffering. I've been trying to get them some antibiotics, but they don't want to hold still. So I don't know, is there anybody in the borough, is there anybody that's responsible for the wildlife that's gonna help treat them? Or do they just die? I don't, do I call or?
It's not.
It's
You
not.
can take notice if you want, but there's a fee involved, control, or you can find, like a respite that deals with wildlife, and also hold those folks. But there is nothing borough run that handles wildlife.
There's nothing for the wildlife.
Okay.
Okay.
And animal control.
Now, animal control will kill them, and that's what I'm trying to avoid, because it's a treatable condition, and I know that, and some of the neighbors and I have realized it's a much larger problem than just one fox.
I
It's
know that
multiple
there's a
fox.
couple of wildlife, I don't know the right words, but like, but they deal with wildlife and helping wildlife if they're injured or if they need to be directed to some different area. And I don't know the right word off the top of my head, but I know that there's a few in the city.
Okay, thank you.
Pardon me, can I add to that, please?
Carol.
Carol?
Yes,
Yeah, I was also thinking what may be helpful is to have like just a listing of resources on our website. Like there's the Schuylkill River Animal Rehabilitation organization and some other ones that if you do find wildlife in need of help, that you can contact those organizations as well. Like, I know in Parks and Recreation had mentioned that a couple of times in their meetings. So at the Parks and Recreation meeting on Monday, we can talk about it and then bring forward some ideas. But to have some resources on our website would be helpful, I think, in cases like this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall, that's awesome, appreciate it. We have any other public comment? Anyone else in the room? Comment? All right. Seeing there is no more public comment, I'd like to take a motion to resume, Robert rules of order. Would someone like to, make that motion? Second. So the motion was moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion has passed, we will now move into new business. Yes.
Thank you. I have received a notice from Portnoy Law Associates, for those of you who don't know, Portnoy is a law firm that the borough contracts with to collect delinquent taxes, trash and sewer fees. They received notice from the county about the collecting agencies remitting to the county 5% fees on collections. When the delinquent taxes are collected, the fee reimburses the tax claim bureau of the county for the work they need to process delinquent taxes. So, Portnoy Associates sent this to us, and we need to start remitting to the county 5% of the fees that are collected. Portnoy asked us if they need to report back to the county by January 19th. They want to know whether or not we ask Portnoy to remit the commission directly to the tax claim bureau, which would reduce our collections by 5%, or whether we want to charge 5% commission to the delinquent taxpayer, which they, Portnoy, concede may not even be a legal recommendation. So I talked about it with Solicitor Scott, and our recommendation is that we just have the tax 5% commission paid directly to the tax claim bureau from the. Right?
Very well, yes. I was prepared to jump in if needed, didn't need to.
Thank you. So that will be motion later on in the agenda. And any questions about it?
I have a question. Sorry. Okay, so this is delinquent tax and they're collecting it in full. Portnoy gets a cut from the full amount, right?
So there's two different delinquent tax statutes.
Okay.
One, I should say, tax and claims. The municipal claims act allows you to put a collection cost on top of what is it. So if I owe $100 to the and the legal fees are $20, $100, whatever, but you don't. With taxes, it is not clear. So Cordon off collects both delinquent tax and delinquent sewer trash. This does not affect trash or sewer, those things are not subject. The taxes are subject under the tax collection, the tax collection statute, to this ability of the county to take 5% back. It is not clear you can pass that.
No, I understand that, but Fort Knox takes a cut.
You don't take a cut, they're cut across the top. So you
Of
get
tax.
you get the whole amount of your tax back with interest, and their costs are on top. So my $100 delinquent fee can easily turn into a $300. And the borough gets its whole $100. So they don't take a cut, they have a charge, which goes on top of those.
So we now will not be getting $100, we'll be getting $100 at 95%. That's correct. So, and what is it that the county does for us to earn that 5%?
So they run the annual judicial sale and sales. They run all the tax sales that are held. Those deadlines are what cause people to pay.
Okay.
And this county, for whatever reason, most counties in the state can collect this 5%. There were a few counties that did not, that were not brought their attention to that.
Oh, they would go. Okay, all right, I just wanted to be clear how that worked. Thank you so much.
We're gonna move into, our action items, starting with Ms. Collins.
Motion to authorize payment of bills for the period.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passed. Next. Ms.
Motion,
Collins.
yes, motion to appoint Betsy Rickard, right to know officer.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passed. Next, Ms. Collins.
Motion to appoint Ellen Lustgarten, deputy, right to know officer.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion has passed. Next, Ms. Young.
Motion to accept changes to the LGB mechanical agreement. What does LGB stand for, Mr. Mattson?
Just remember, it's the initials of the gentleman who owns the company. It's a company name.
Okay, agreement to include an additional heater unit at the firehouse at a cost of $12,750.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
This, I just want to point out, this is an addition, we did vote in a previous council, a certain dollar amount to replace 3 heaters. The 3 heaters that are being replaced were all red tagged, they have to go. The 4th heater is really on its last leg. This will complete the job, and the difference between the old bid and the new one was the efficiency. So we want to make sure we're getting the most efficient heaters.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passed. Next, Mr. Hope.
Move to put out for bid the MB5 design for Veterans Day.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, that's.
Well, Mr. Mattson, we need to have an estimate in advance, because if it's above certain thresholds, it prevailing wage, and if it's above another, you have to do the responsible contractor, so there should be an estimate. It may or may not hit that, but we should have.
I do have that. I think we want to I have the latest estimate when it comes to one.
I think for immediate purposes, it probably take about 500,000. Is that
It is, but fine.
Then it, when you said 1.2 was the last
I
estimate.
assume that's, is that kind of the basis?
Oh, yeah, no, that's funny, it's something, something.
All right, so we'll come back to you, we'll keep it moving. Any other discussion items on? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Next, Mr. Griffin.
Motion to allow the library access to 47 South Lansdowne Avenue effective February 1st, 2024, contingent upon inspection by the code director. Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Can you just remind me what the
Discussion.
change was?
Yes, so the borough purchased this building, which is the old library, 47 South Lansdowne Avenue. The request from the library is to, in hopes that we utilize this building in the future facilities plan, we would like to use this building for storage. However, the tenant is in place since upon buying it. The tenant claims they'll be out by February 1st. Upon inspection by the code director, the one question the library has is, well, I guess once the inspection happens, is there mold? Just the condition of the building after the inspection, because they're going to be putting books, things of that nature inside that building, they don't want mold to grow onto the books.
It's piercing, wasn't it?
So,
Okay,
Is any other comment?
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passed. Next, Mr. Hoover.
I move to amend easement agreement with the Historic Lansdowne Theater Corporation to include additional encouragements on the property for the one block wall that are transfer.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the item? Yes.
Yes, I did sit in the audience at, the economic development meeting, and I asked the question, is this in any way, do we have more liability when we do this kind of easements, if it's an attractive nuisance, if it's a wall, things that people might trip or fall over or climb or et cetera?
Well, under the easement, they're responsible for it.
Okay.
Anything identified in their stuff.
Okay.
If someone's injured on their encroachment, it's on that. Now, that said, if a lawsuit happens, everybody gets sued, but it should, in the court process of the litigation, the library should all manage.
Okay, so you don't have any issues around,
No, as long as the agreement's done properly, we have, I think, a good base agreement we're working from. And which would do exactly what you said. And this is just a matter of making sure that the exhibits to it properly reflect what it is they're doing now, and it's not clear to me whether they're expanding their footprint or not. I think that they're not, I think they're doing this all in an area they already have subject to easement, but Mr. Mass and I are kind of.
okay, all right, just wanted to check, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris. To speak back to what Council Green's concern and discussion is, when we created this easement in the past, we did describe a monetary value to it. And we also gave a monetary value just to keep one public record that for our rights on public property, and that this is part of that collaboration, also compensation relationship that we have with the historic corporation as a private entity. So if there's some language, Mr. Scott, that could amend that per previous easement.
That that's one of the things we're kind of working through. If they were previously putting things in an area this big and then now just to put different things in that area, I think that we've already done it. It's not clear to me whether that's the case or not, that's what we've done. But it looks like primarily it's going to be an area for even different stuff.
Thank you, sounds like.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion has passed.
Motion to instruct Gordon Associates to remit the 5% county commission directly to the tax claim bureau.
Second.
The motion has been moved and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion has passed. Number 9,
Motion to ratify the non-renewal of the borough manager's contract.
Second.
the motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
So it sounds like it's 6 in favor and 1 opposed. Oh, Carol.
Carol,
That's just, she's still moving.
Just unmute. Oh.
Hi, I voted yes to the motion to ratify the non-renewal, because I know that's the direction I'm heading, so I'm voting yes to that.
Thank you.
She's getting herself. Yep.
But could we just ask her to confirm she voted yes on the prior, since I don't think voted. Ms. Martell, could you just confirm you voted yes on the prior agenda items? We're trying to just realize something.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Carol, can you stay unmuted, please?
Oh,
Stay.
yes, okay, thank you.
So move on to the next item, number 10, Ms. Thomas.
motion to ratify the appointment of Ellen Lustgarten as interim borough manager.
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion has passed. Next, number 11, Ms. Thomas.
Motion to approve an employment agreement for Ellen Lustgarten as interim borough manager.
Second.
The motion has been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I'm going to offer amendment to the motion.
Yes.
If we put terms of compensation in the amendment, or would they? So the motion.
So can you, so what do you want to say?
So, with one, more code, we go with the engagement contract, this is language, this is the salary amount, the amount. So, we should put in the motion. So, I believe the contract that's facilitated is $100 an hour, 30 hours a week.
Okay, do I have a second? Well, it has to be put on there. So let me just.
Well, does the maker of the motion consent?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right, so that was only discussion?
Yeah, I just have some questions that I have clarified before we vote. When we sought out a manager, if I could have clarified timeline, if there were multiple candidates, when interviews were conducted, and also did we do any third-party background checks? We've done that on all employees. Certainly, if and when we deploy in the future, if we don't do third-party background check, we could be liable for EEOC violation. Just know this from hiring teachers in school, we have to have consistent practice with every employee.
I agree, and I don't have that answer for you right now. I'll make sure I get it to you, you just send me an email, I'll make sure I get it to you. I don't have that answer.
Nobody on council has an answer of how the campaign was brought in as a.
You're talking about the interim borough manager. And I'm so sorry, I did not hear all the questions. You're asking now what?
The timeline where there's multiple candidates and have we done a third-party background check?
From what I understand with interims, because, and Mr. Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, this is an emergency, basically an emergency appointment, and bring someone in and give yourself the time to find a better, your best applicant for borough manager. We've done it in the past. At one point, the former mayor, Tony Campuzano, was an interim borough manager. We've done it with in-house employees when we had more staff, so it wasn't wouldn't have been as difficult. So you can't do a full search for someone who's interim because you need them right away.
So there were some of the candidate that there was no third party background check.
So these more specifically, on third party, talking about that.
So there, when employment is conducted third party background check, then you go outsource the background check.
But she was employed with the borough in the past.
So you said like a criminal background check, you're saying? Because I'm not like, you're saying third party. It's something that we confused. Okay.
So in the past,
okay, so
we did do it through the police department, and that was not the correct way. So we implemented changes in policies for equipment. I just want to ensure that we're having a consistent process for the police. So.
Well, yeah, thank you for bringing that to my attention. You never mentioned it before, so I appreciate you bringing it during the council meeting. Could have reached out and explained that to me. But yeah, I'll have to find out about that.
I'm just trying to be transparent with the residents of Lansdowne, so they.
Should do both.
But the answer for the minutes is that no background check was done, and there were no.
No, I didn't say that. I did not say that. What I'm saying is that I'm not able to answer that question for you right now. I will have to answer that question for you. That's the response.
So we're waiting without knowledge of how the.
Mr. Hoover, you can vote.
I'm asking you to clarify.
I'll explain it again. I'm not able to provide that answer for you right now, and so you can vote based off of what you feel is right. Thank you. All right. So any other discussion on that item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we have 6 aye and 1 opposed. The motion has passed. Next item.
Motion to approve an employment agreement, oh, I'm sorry, I did that one. Motion to approve second agreement with Francis Farmer.
Second.
So the motion has been moved and second. Any discussion?
You offer, you authorize, please. This was intended to be in your packets for the ones, that's why.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion has passed. All right, so that concludes our business for this evening. We're going to be moving to executive session for personnel, treasurer, real estate, license building. There will be no additional.
No,
Okay, so there will be no additional action items after executive session. So I want to take a motion to adjourn the meeting. Second. So the motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passed. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to the meeting.
Come on, I'm coming.
Thank you.